Hello, today I want to present a PowerPoint on some effective classroom management strategies that I have researched. Here are the contents of my presentation, the agenda of this meeting, my vision statement, focus, problem, and solution, an article that I will share, interventions, my hypothesis, my next steps, and my reflection. On the agenda, we have the sections and the estimated times for each section of my presentation. These times would represent actually sharing this with a group of teachers as in a PLC meeting. I'm going to share my personal vision statement with you. Then we'll do a warm-up. I'll take a poll of your most effective classroom management strategies, and we will discuss that briefly. Then we'll look at the focus, problem, and solution to the problem. Then I'll share an article by Tiger Robinson. Next, we'll look at some questions that will help us focus on solutions to our problem. Next, we'll discuss some questions that will help us focus on the solutions of our problem. I just said that. Next, we'll discuss the interventions that can help maintain good classroom management. I'll share how I keep documentation of the strategy and the results. Since I will not actually be implementing these strategies until next school year, I will share my anticipated outcome. Lastly, I will share my reflection and next steps. My personal vision statement is that I aspire to always provide open communication, an encouraging attitude, and a healthy school culture to inspire lifelong learning among students and teachers. Okay, so this is the section where I would take a poll through Poll Everywhere on my PowerPoint. I would ask the question, what is your most effective classroom management strategy? And after the teachers in the meeting have time to respond, a word cloud would be displayed on this slide. Since I don't have a live audience, I went ahead and created a word cloud of possible answers. The focus problem is the behaviors in the classroom that impede learning for both individual students and groups of students. The solution to this problem is to maximize the behaviors that facilitate and enhance learning by communicating with students' families early in the school year and often throughout the school year. This strategy can be a reliable way to prevent and improve classroom management issues. Would anyone like to share any thoughts? When I was researching articles on effective classroom management strategies, this was one that caught my eye. The author, Tiger Robinson, is actually a classroom music teacher, but his strategies are very relevant to the general education classroom. In his article, Improving Classroom Management Issues by Building Connections with Families, Tiger Robinson stresses the importance of including families to improve and prevent classroom management issues. By communicating with families early in the year, and often teachers build a positive partnership and a less intimidating or threatening relationship. Tiger Robinson has written several articles on classroom management if you're interested in reading any more of his work. So our focus questions are, how do I involve and inform parents and families of their children's behaviors? How do I make parent contacts? How do I get parents and families to cooperate with me for the well-being of their children? What are your thoughts? What has worked well for you? So from the article that I mentioned earlier, I'm going to focus on 3 of the different interventions. The first intervention and its benefits are positive phone calls home. Make positive, encouraging calls to families about how well their child did that day. Do this at the beginning of the year. Making positive calls often will help eliminate negative attitudes from families when you need their help. Goodwill with families is valuable. Letting students know that you make these kinds of positive calls can be helpful in eliciting good behavior from them. Tiger Robinson paraphrased a former mentor in his article saying, "Treat people like bank accounts with goodwill and compliments as deposits and disciplinary enforcement as withdrawals. Always keep a high balance." So in other words, make many more positive calls home than negative ones. What are your thoughts or experiences on this? Second intervention that I got from the article, complete the comments section of report cards. Report cards are the most permanent form of communication for students' families. Don't just fill in the ranking numbers in the behavior section of the report card, but actually take the time to write comments. If you feel the need to write a concern about a student, you should communicate this concern with that student's family before it goes home on a report card. When writing the concern, write something like this: "James has done a great job in the past for me during reading groups, but he has become distracted lately. Please help me remind him to stay focused and to raise his hand when he needs something. I believe this adjustment could help James receive a 4 in the behavior area of his next report card. Thank you." And the last intervention I want to share, come from a place of service and reveal some vulnerability. Have a public servant mindset. We are to serve students and their families. This mindset will help guide your words and actions. For example, instead of calling home about a child's disregard to the classroom rules and essential agreements, say something like, "I'm not sure how I can help Susie meet the expectations of our classroom. Here's what happened today," and then proceed to tell them a little bit of what happened. "I thought you should know, and I was wondering if we can brainstorm some strategies to help Susie." Or you could say, "I would like to get your suggestions on an issue that Susie faced today. I want to help her and wanted to get your advice." So end your conversation with something like, "I want to see her succeed. May we talk after you've had a chance to talk with her?" So remember, partnership with parents and families, very important. Communicate with families early in the year and often. Make positive calls home. In fact, do more of those than the negative calls. Fill in the comments section of the report card. Ask for suggestions from parents and families. Do not procrastinate and do not let your pride get in the way. So when I start implementing strategies, data will be collected by documenting each parent contact and comparing this to the frequency of behavior issues by each student. I will evaluate the data at the end of each week to see if contacting the parents more often yield positive behavior by a specific child. And based on my research, I anticipate seeing a consistency or an increase in positive behavior due to the occurrences of parent contacts I make. So in other words, I hypothesize the more I contact parents and families of their children's progress, the more positive behaviors I will see in the classroom. So reflections and next steps. So like I said earlier, I've not actually implemented this strategy yet, but I plan to immediately at the beginning of next school year. In the event I have a positive outcome, my next steps will be to continue the different ways to keep parents and families connected and informed of their child's progress. In the event I have a negative outcome of the strategy, I'll increase positive calls and notes home and implement additional classroom management strategies such as establishing a consistent daily routine that begins as soon as students enter the classroom, establishing tight transition routines that students learn and can execute quickly and repeatedly, and to publicly recognize and praise students with props. And that would be like fun little catchy sayings and fun claps, little chants that you could teach the whole class. And then when a certain student has something that you all want to celebrate, then you have those little fun chants or special clap that you do for that student. Okay, thank you.